You're not depressed. You're undisciplined. You don't need more sympathy. You need a mirror. You need to take a cold, hard look at your life and admit it. You're not where you want to be because you're lazy. You're soft. You've gotten used to comfort. Depression is often a mask for a lack of structure and purpose. That's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to say out loud. We live in a world where everyone wants to label themselves, find an excuse, and sit in their sorrow like it's some kind of identity badge. But what if I told you that what you're feeling isn't depression in the clinical sense? What if it's a deep void created by a life without direction? Think about it. When was the last time you woke up with a plan? Not just a to-do list, but a mission, a reason, a fire in your chest that said, today, I'm building something. Most people don't have that. They wake up reacting, not creating, scrolling, not striving. And then they wonder why they feel empty. That emptiness isn't some mysterious illness. It's the absence of purpose. Structure is the foundation of freedom. It sounds backward, but it's the truth. Discipline gives you the power to build the life you want. Without it, your mind becomes a chaotic battlefield. Every emotion fights for control. One minute you're sad, then numb, then angry, then tired. And you can't figure out why. But when you live without structure, that chaos is the default setting. You wake up at noon, lie in bed for an hour, scroll through social media watching other people live. Then convince yourself you're not doing enough. Of course you feel like garbage. Your brain is wired for progress, for challenge, for movement. When it doesn't get that, it punishes you, not out of cruelty, but out of desperation. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine waking up at 5 a.m., not because someone told you to, but because you decided to take control. You drink water, stretch, feel your breath in the silence of the morning. The world is still asleep, and you're already winning. You hit the gym, push your body through pain, not for abs or selfies, but because suffering and training makes life outside easier to handle. You get home, shower, sit down, and plan your attack for the day. Every hour has a target. Every task moves you closer to your goals. By the time most people are still in bed, you've already laid the bricks for a legacy. Do you think that person has time to feel lost? Do you think they have space in their mind for aimless sadness? Purpose is the antidote to depression. Not always in the medical sense, but in the emotional sense that most people confuse for depression. When you live with direction, your mind doesn't wander into darkness. It's too busy building. And no, purpose doesn't mean starting $1 million business or saving the world. It can be as simple as becoming the strongest version of yourself, showing up every day for your family, becoming a better father, a more focused student, a more present human being. I met a guy once who was broke, overweight, and constantly saying he was depressed. He hated his job, avoided mirrors, and lived on energy drinks and fast food. Every night he'd drown himself in games, and every morning he'd hit snooze 10 times. He thought he was depressed. But what he really was undisciplined. So I challenged him. I said, for the next 30 days, wake up at 6, go for a run, eat clean, journal your goals, and avoid all distractions. He laughed at first, said it wouldn't work, but he did it. Slowly, something changed. By week 2, he smiled more. His back stood straighter. His eyes looked sharper. And by day 30, he said something that stuck with me. He said, I think I was just living wrong. I didn't need pills. I needed purpose. Structure gives your soul a path. Purpose gives your pain a reason. When you don't have either, life feels like you're drifting on an endless ocean with no compass. Some days are calm, most are storms, and all you do is try not to drown. That's what most people call depression. But if you built a ship, mapped a course, and started rowing suddenly, those same waves feel different. They're not obstacles, they're tests. And you're not a victim. You're a captain. So no, you're not broken, you're not weak, you're untrained, you're not depressed, you're disorganized. Put structure in your day and you give peace to your mind. Put purpose in your life and you give strength to your spirit. The reason you feel stuck is because you're not moving. The reason you feel anxious is because your soul knows you're not living the life you were meant to. It's not your brain that's the problem. It's your schedule. It's not your genetics. It's your habits. You weren't born to be numb. You were born to fight, to lead, to conquer, to contribute. And until you start doing that, your mind will scream at you, not because it hates you, but because it knows you're wasting something powerful. Most people feel lost because they have no discipline. It's not because they're stupid. It's not because they're cursed or unlucky. It's because they've never been forced to hold themselves accountable every single day to something higher than comfort. And that's what discipline is. It's not a punishment, it's freedom. The kind of freedom that only comes when you earn control over your own mind. Look around you. Everyone is looking for answers. People jump from one thing to the next. Jobs, relationships, diets, trends, hoping something will finally click, that something outside of them will fill the void inside. But the problem isn't out there, it's within. It's the lack of consistency, the lack of effort, the lack of routine. They want their life to feel meaningful without putting in the hours it takes to build meaning. Take any average person today. They wake up late, already chasing the day. There's no plan, no goal, no structure. They check their phone before they even brush their teeth. They scroll for dopamine hits, comparing their life to someone else's highlight reel. Then they rush into work they don't care about, eat food that makes them feel worse, come home tired, and distract themselves until they pass out, then repeat. And they wonder why they feel lost. It's not a mystery. It's mathematics. No direction plus no discipline equals confusion. Emotional chaos, identity crisis. But here's the truth. Discipline is the compass. It's the map. When you start doing what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it, something powerful happens. Your brain starts trusting you. Your energy aligns. Your goals become real. You stop chasing a feeling and you start building a life. The fog begins to lift. You don't feel lost because you're not wandering anymore. You're walking with purpose. There's a guy I know who used to be completely aimless. He hated his job, felt stuck in a cycle of distraction and doubt. Every weekend he drank to forget the week, and every Monday he'd promise himself he'd change. But nothing ever did until one day rock bottom hit. Not in some dramatic way. No death, no breakup. Just a moment in the mirror where he saw the truth. He looked like a man who had given up on himself, and that scared him more than anything else. So he made a decision. He started waking up early. Every single morning, same time. Didn't matter if he was tired. He made a list of non-negotiables. Drink water, make his bed, work out, read journal, small things. But he did them every day, not perfectly, not always enthusiastically, but consistently. And you know what happened? After 2 weeks, he felt different. After 4 weeks, people noticed. And after 3 months, he wasn't the same man. He had direction. Not because life changed, but because he did, because he chose discipline. And discipline gave him back his identity. You see, people think discipline is about restriction. It's not. It's about clarity. When you have discipline, your mind stops running in circles. It knows where to go. It knows what matters. You're no longer pulled by every impulse or trapped by every emotion. You rise above it. You become stable, solid, reliable to yourself. You feel lost because you let your feelings guide you. And feelings are liars. They change by the hour. Discipline is truth. It says, I don't care if you're tired. We move. I don't care if it's hard. We finish. I don't care if you don't feel like it. We do it anyway because we said we would. Look at athletes, soldiers, creators, leaders. They don't rely on motivation. They live by discipline. They have rituals, systems, habits. And that's what keeps them grounded when the storms hit. Because storms always come. Chaos will always exist. But discipline is the anchor that keeps your soul from drifting into despair. This is why most people can't find their place. They want the rewards without the regimen. They want success without structure. But it doesn't work like that. If you want to stop feeling lost, you have to build a path and then walk it every day, brick by brick. Discipline turns dreams into reality. Without it, all you have is wishful thinking and broken promises to yourself. You don't need a new job, a new city, or a new relationship to find yourself. You need discipline. You need to wake up earlier than your excuses. You need to follow through when no one is watching. You need to earn your own respect. And once you do that, you'll stop feeling lost because you'll finally know who you are. Not because of what you say, but because of what you do every single day. Comfort is the enemy. It kills progress. It's dressed in soft blankets, warm coffee, and lazy Sunday mornings that turn into lazy weeks, months, and years. It whispers in your ear, telling you to relax, take it easy, there's always tomorrow. And before you know it, your life becomes a museum of things you meant to do. Dreams gather dust. Goals fade into background noise. Your potential left to rot in the prison of your own excuses. Think about it. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it's a liar. It tells you that staying in bed for another hour is harmless, that skipping the gym just today won't matter, that eating that junk food just this once won't hurt, but it adds up, and slowly it turns you soft, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Comfort is addictive. It's a slow poison, and the worst part is, you won't even notice it's killing you until you've lost the fire inside you. I knew a guy who had everything going for him. Good job, great family, smart as hell, but he got comfortable. He stopped learning. Stop pushing. Every day looked the same. Wake up, work, eat, sleep. Nothing new, nothing challenging. He didn't feel pain, but he didn't feel alive either. And that's the danger. Comfort doesn't scream. It seduces. It lulls you into mediocrity. And one day you wake up realizing you've coasted through your prime without ever truly tapping into what you could have been. Progress only happens when you step outside of what feels good. It happens in the gym when your muscles burn and you keep going. It happens in business when you're scared to launch but you hit publish anyway. It happens in your mind when you face the uncomfortable truth about your habits, your laziness, your wasted time, and you decide to change. Comfort says you've done enough for today. Discipline says there's more in the tank. Comfort says be proud of the small win. Discipline says good, now double it. Comfort pats you on the back for showing up. Discipline pushes you to dominate. The people who win, who break records, who transform their lives, they don't live in comfort. They visit it occasionally, but they don't build homes there. Every person you admire, every champion, every legend, every leader, they got there by walking straight into discomfort, by training when no one was watching, by reading while others were partying, by investing their money when others were spending. They made peace with pain. They embraced the grind because they knew that comfort was the enemy, and they weren't going to let it steal their future. I remember this young guy who wanted to become a fighter. He had zero experience, just raw hunger. The first week of training, he puked. His hands bled. He cried. Not because he was weak, but because his body had never been pushed that far. Every part of him screamed to quit, but he showed up the next day. And the next, and months later, he stepped into the ring, not because he was comfortable, because he had become unstoppable. The pain didn't break him, it built him. That's what progress looks like: messy, hard, uncomfortable, but worth it. Look around at your life. If it's too easy, if every day feels the same, if you're not waking up with purpose and going to bed exhausted from pursuit, then you're probably too comfortable. And that comfort is slowly smothering your potential. Real growth comes from doing what most people avoid: waking up early, saying no to distraction, facing your fears, training when it hurts, learning when your brain is tired, putting yourself in rooms where you're the dumbest person so you're forced to rise. Comfort wants to keep you small. Progress demands that you expand. Comfort wants you to stay safe. Progress wants you to take risks. Comfort wants you to survive. Progress demands that you thrive, and you have to decide, do you want to feel good today or do you want to feel proud forever? The couch won't change your life. The party won't change your life. Scrolling on your phone for 2 hours won't change your life. Getting uncomfortable will. Grinding in silence will. Bleeding for your goals will. Failing, learning, getting back up again and again. That's what builds a life worth living. Your comfort zone is a cage. It looks cozy. It feels familiar, but it's still a cage. And every time you choose what's easy, you reinforce those bars. Every time you avoid the challenge, you lock the door from the inside. But the moment you choose pain over pleasure, progress over procrastination, purpose over comfort, that's when the lock breaks. That's when you start living like the beast you were born to be. No one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your friends, not the government, not some future version of yourself who magically has it all figured out. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you will take control of your life. We live in a world where people have become addicted to blaming everything and everyone else for their situation. They blame their childhood, their boss, their partner, the economy, their genetics, the weather. They do everything except look in the mirror and ask the hard question: what am I doing to fix this? Radical self-responsibility is the most powerful weapon you'll ever carry. It's not just saying, "I'm at fault." It's saying, everything that happens in my life is my responsibility, even when it's not my fault. It's realizing that you may not control the storm, but you control how you respond, and that response determines your future. You're broke. Stop waiting for a miracle, for some secret cheat code, or for someone to drop an opportunity in your lap. You need to build skills, not excuses. You need to become valuable. People don't pay for effort. They pay for results. So ask yourself, what do you bring to the table? You want money, but have you developed any skill that the world actually needs? Have you disciplined your time? Are you learning every day? Or are you spending hours watching others live the life you're too lazy to build? There's a man I met who used to sweep the floors of a gym. He didn't complain. He didn't feel sorry for himself. He just kept listening to the trainers, watching the routines, reading fitness books on his break. 6 months in, he started helping out with clients. A year later, he was certified. Today, he runs his own fitness brand. He didn't wait to be discovered. He became undeniable. That's radical self-responsibility. He didn't let his current role define his future. He took ownership of his time, his environment, and his growth. People always say, "I'm stuck." No, you're not stuck. You're just comfortable in misery. You know exactly what needs to change, but you're afraid of the work it will take. You're afraid of failing. So you stay where it's safe, where it's predictable, and then you wonder why nothing changes. Let me tell you something brutal. If your life sucks right now, it's your fault. Even if someone else hurt you, even if you didn't choose the pain, healing, growing, and leveling up, that's on you. No one else is responsible for cleaning up your mess. No one is required to believe in you. The world owes you nothing. And that's freeing if you're brave enough to own it. Look around. The most dangerous belief you can have is that someone is coming to fix your problems. Because when they don't show up, you stay broken. You stay dependent. But when you flip the switch and say, "I'm the hero in this story," your whole life starts to shift. You wake up with purpose. You stop negotiating with weakness. You start hunting your goals like your life depends on it. Because it does. I've seen people rise from the bottom with nothing but grit. No support, no money, no special talent. Just a refusal to quit and a relentless mindset that says, "I'm all I need." And every time life knocked them down, they stood up faster because they weren't waiting for a handout. They were building their own ladder. You've got to stop outsourcing your power. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop thinking motivation will come. You don't need more time. You need more urgency. You don't need more support. You need more fire in your gut. The people who win in life are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who took extreme ownership of everything. They said, if it is to be, it's up to me. They didn't just say it. They lived it. Imagine you're drowning. Now imagine sitting there waiting, hoping someone will throw you a rope. Or imagine using every ounce of strength you have to swim, to scream, to survive. That's life. Most people are sitting at the bottom of the pool, blaming the water. Be the one who swims. Every time you complain, every time you justify, every time you delay, it's one more brick in the wall that separates you from your dreams. But every time you choose action, discipline, and personal accountability, you tear down that wall, brick by brick, piece by piece, and eventually you walk through to a life that's yours, not handed to you, not borrowed, but earned entirely, unapologetically earned. Your pain, your responsibility, your goals, your responsibility, your energy, your focus, your mindset, your habits, your circle, your direction, yours. And the second you embrace that, you become untouchable. Because now, nothing can stop you. No circumstance, no setback, no failure. When you are radically responsible for everything, you become powerful beyond measure. Because you're no longer waiting to be saved. You're becoming the one who saves yourself. You don't need therapy. You need a strict daily routine. The truth is most people are not broken. They're just bored, lazy, and lacking discipline. They confuse sadness with stagnation. They confuse anxiety with lack of structure. And the moment life feels heavy, instead of building structure, they start running to distractions, to comfort, to numbing. They don't realize that their mind isn't sick, it's undirected. It's like a wild horse with no reins, no path, just chaos. And what that horse needs isn't medication, it needs a mission. When you wake up without a purpose, your mind becomes your prison. Every small thought becomes a monster. You start to drown in problems that only exist because your life is too empty. It's not depression. It's the weight of untapped potential crushing you from the inside. You don't need someone to talk about your childhood for the 50th time. You need to wake up at the same time every morning. Train your body until it burns. Plan your day with intention and execute with ruthless discipline. You don't need to cry it out. You need to sweat it out. There's a reason soldiers, athletes, fighters, people who face chaos and violence every day don't fall apart the way civilians do. It's not because they don't feel. It's because they've trained their minds through the fire of daily routines. They have structure. They don't wait to feel ready. They act. They move. They train. They eat clean. They sleep right. They don't need therapy because they've turned their life into a system. And when you live like that, you don't have time to be anxious. You're too busy becoming a machine. I knew a guy who used to be addicted to every vice you can name. Late nights, drinking, sleeping all day. Blaming the world for everything. He was in therapy for 5 years, still the same man. But one day he snapped, not in anger, but in clarity, said enough. He deleted every app on his phone, woke up the next day at 5 a.m., went on a run until his lungs gave out. Then he came home, made his bed, cleaned his apartment, wrote down 5 goals and started crushing them one by one. Within 6 months, he looked like a different person. Didn't need therapy. Didn't need motivation. He just needed a reason to take control. And control came when the routine came. People act like discipline is a punishment. It's not. It's freedom. You think doing whatever you want whenever you want is freedom. No, it's slavery to your feelings. Real freedom is waking up and knowing exactly what you have to do. No decision fatigue, no second guessing, just execution. Real freedom is knowing that no matter what's going on in your life, your habits stay locked in. Your workout gets done, your meals are clean, your goals are pursued with fire. The reason you feel mentally weak isn't because you're broken. It's because your life is a mess. Your phone is the first thing you see when you wake up. You scroll through other people's fake lives while ignoring your own. You eat sugar for breakfast, skip the gym, and expect to feel powerful. You don't need therapy. You need to unplug from this nonsense and build a structure so strong your emotions bow to it, so strong that even on your worst day, you're still dangerous. Your daily routine should be your fortress, something sacred. Wake up early before the world distracts you. Hit the gym, turn pain into power, read something that feeds your mind, plan your day like your life depends on it, because it does. Cut out the people who drain you. Remove the apps that steal your focus. Schedule your time like a warrior preparing for battle. And when you feel low, don't spiral. Just stick to the routine. Because when your emotions betray you, your habits will save you. Do you know what's more powerful than a therapy session? The discipline to do the hard thing every single day, even when you don't feel like it. Emotions lie. Feelings fade. But discipline delivers. It doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care if you're in the mood. It shows up and gets the job done. Therapy asks how you feel. Discipline says it doesn't matter. What matters is what you do next. Life is a war. And if your mind is your battlefield, your routine is your weapon. Without it, you're unarmed. You're exposed to every thought, every fear, every distraction. But with it, you're lethal. You become a force. People will look at you and wonder how you stay so calm, so focused, so unshakable. They won't understand it's not magic. It's daily habits. It's the fact that you built a rhythm so solid, nothing can break it. Not failure, not rejection, not sadness. Your routine is not just about being productive. It's about building your identity. Every time you follow through on your plan, you tell yourself you are not weak. You are not a victim. You are in control. And that identity compounds. It turns into confidence. It turns into power. It turns into the kind of mental strength that no amount of therapy can buy. So stop waiting to feel better. Stop chasing perfect circumstances. Build a routine that turns you into a beast. Wake up, move, work, learn, repeat. Don't negotiate. Don't compromise. Because the truth is, you don't need someone to fix you. You need to become the kind of person who can't be broken in the first place. You feel like a failure because you're not honoring your potential. Deep down, you know you were built for more. You weren't meant to just scroll through life, eat junk, binge shows, and sleep through your dreams. Every single time you lie in bed at night and feel that uncomfortable silence, that little sting in your chest, that whisper in your brain that says, you're not doing enough. That's not depression. That's your potential screaming at you, begging you to be unleashed. You can't fool yourself. Not forever. You can post the quotes, share the reels, pretend like you're working. But you know when you're not giving your best. You know when you're hiding behind comfort. And that guilt, that weight, that feeling of being a failure, it doesn't come from being broken. It comes from knowing you're wasting your gift. It comes from knowing you've let your talents collect dust while you keep chasing distractions. Every minute you waste, every task you skip, every opportunity you ignore, it's like slapping your future self in the face. Look around. How many people do you know who are just drifting? No purpose, no passion, just survival. They exist, but they don't live. And you start to absorb that energy. You start to shrink to fit in. You start to tell yourself, maybe I'm not that special, but you are. You know you are. You just stopped proving it. You stopped earning it. And when you stop chasing your potential, that's when the rot sets in. Your confidence dies, your fire fades, and you start mistaking your own laziness for sadness. I met a guy once who used to paint. He was brilliant, but life got busy. Bills, he took a desk job, stopped painting, 10 years passed. And every day he told himself he was tired, unmotivated, lost. Until one day he picked up the brush again, and it was like someone woke up his soul. He didn't need therapy, he needed purpose. That's what most people are missing. Not healing, meaning. Something to fight for, something to build, something that demands the best version of you. Do you want to know why you feel like a failure? Because you're living beneath your own standards, because you've tasted excellence before, even in small moments. Remember that time you went all in on something? Maybe it was fitness, maybe it was school, maybe it was a side hustle. Remember how alive you felt, how proud you were when you saw progress. That was you stepping into your potential. That was you honoring your gift, but you got comfortable. And comfort is the enemy of greatness. You don't need someone to tell you you're amazing. You need to prove it to yourself again. You need to wake up and chase something so big, so bold, it scares you. Because the moment you stretch yourself, you start to feel alive again. You start to feel worthy again. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Because you stopped running from your greatness and started demanding it. Honoring your potential means making sacrifices. It means saying no to nights out, to mindless entertainment, to lazy mornings. It means choosing the grind over the gossip, the sweat over the scroll. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because every rep, every hour, every painful step forward is a message to your soul that says, I see you. I respecting for you. I knew a girl who dreamed of building a business, but she worked a job she hated, went home, scrolled TikTok for hours, and cried herself to sleep. She thought she was depressed, but really, she was starving for progress, so she made a change. She woke up an hour earlier, worked on her dream before her shift, started small, day by day, and 6 months later, she wasn't sad anymore. She was exhausted, yes. Challenged, definitely, but fulfilled because she was finally honoring her potential, and that made her feel alive. The world will never clap for you when you decide to level up. It will mock you, distract you, tempt you with shortcuts and comfort. But that voice inside you, the one that knows you're capable of more, that voice never lies. And it will haunt you until you listen, until you act, until you rise. Don't measure your worth by what you've achieved. Measure it by what you're capable of. If you know you can do more, be more, build more, then anything less will feel like failure, not because you're not enough, but because you've been settling and the pain you feel. That's the friction between who you are and who you're supposed to be. Every legend you admire, every beast you respect, they didn't get there by luck. They got there by obsession, by honoring their potential when no one was watching, when no one believed in them, when they had every excuse to quit. And you've got that same fire inside you. You just buried it under comfort and excuses. So no, you're not broken, you're not weak. You're just not honoring your potential. And until you do, that feeling of failure won't go away. Because it's not sadness, it's your soul demanding more. It's your spirit reminding you that average isn't your destiny. And deep down, you already know that you want a magnificent life, but you're chasing it with mediocre habits. You want the respect of kings while living like a servant to your weakness. Every single day you wake up, you've got two choices staring you in the face, rise or rot, be remembered or be forgotten. Winners understand something most people don't. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. And most of you are out here carrying the weight of a life you didn't choose simply because you refuse to carry the weight of effort. Stop saying tomorrow. Tomorrow is a liar. Tomorrow is a thief. It steals dreams from people who keep waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now, right now. This breath, this heartbeat, this second is your shot. You want to change your life. Start by changing the lies you tell yourself. I'm tired. No, you're uninspired. I can't. No, you won't. I don't have time. No, you don't have priorities. Everyone has 24 hours. Some build empires, others build excuses. The graveyard is full of potential, full of people who waited, who hesitated, who doubted, and now they're silent forever. Don't let that be you. Don't be another name buried under dreams that were never lived. You have one shot, one life. And whether you rise or fall isn't up to fate. It's up to you. The world isn't fair. It never will be. But it is raw. It is real. And it rewards those who fight like hell, not those who cry about how unfair it all feels. You feel something burning inside you right now. That's not emotion. That's your warrior waking up. That's your spirit shaking off the dust. That's the fire that says, I'm not done yet. So what are you going to do with it? Smother it with distractions. Or feed it with action. There are no second chances. There is only now. So act like it, walk like it, breathe like it. If you want to be great, then do what greatness requires. Remember this, lions don't lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. People will mock you when you rise. They'll laugh when you fail, but stay the course. Stay obsessed. Be so good they can't ignore you. Be the storm that never dies. You want peace. Earn it. You want respect. Take it. You want success. Bleed for it. Sacrifice for it. Fight like you've got nothing to lose, because the truth is, if you don't go after your purpose, you've already lost everything that matters. Your mind is your battleground, and you win everywhere. Feed it with vision. Train it with discipline. Protect it from poison. And remind yourself daily, you are the writer of your story. Don't die in someone else's script. Write your own ending and make sure it's so loud, so legendary, that when you're gone, your echo shakes generations. People love to say life is short, but no, life is long if you waste it. It's only short if you live with fire, if you take risks, if you push yourself to your breaking point and then break past it. You were not born to survive. You were born to conquer, to build, to inspire. And if you walk the path with full force, life will kneel before you. Not because it's easy, but because you refuse to quit. So now ask yourself, who will you be when the pain hits, when the world doubts you, when your own mind betrays you? Will you fall back into comfort, or will you rise into power? Every giant you admire was once just a regular person who got tired of being average. Make that decision. Make it now. Don't look back. Don't blink. Don't wait. The time is now. The fire is now. You are the one. And this is your moment to prove it.